The New York Giants have built a very good roster with a healthy mix of young guys and veterans, and they brought in a very good young head coach in Joe Judge last offseason, and that's exactly what I want to talk about today. I plan on talking about why I think they had a great offseason, then I want to transition to their roster as a whole. Then I want to bring up a potential fix to the quarterback situation if Daniel Jones does not pan out, because I don't hear the Giants' name being brought up in these talks that seemingly happen every day. So without further ado, let's get right into it, talking about their offseason moves. It was clear to see that their plan going into the offseason was, we got to help Daniel Jones out. We got to help this quarterback out. And that's exactly what they did. They went out and gave Kenny Golladay a big contract, seemingly the only multi-year contract that went out to a wide receiver this offseason. And I cannot blame them one bit. Kenny Golladay was the best wide receiver in the free agency pool, and I really like that he's finally going to get recognition. I really want that to happen. I think he's great. Talking more about their wide receiver core, they brought in John Ross during free agency as well, which, I don't think much of this move. There was a reason why John Ross was cut. He is very fast, and he can be that potential gadget guy that can help out the rush game, which is awesome. Speaking of gadget guys, that's exactly what they drafted during the first round. They traded back, picked up a first round pick, and got the best gadget guy in this draft class that will not only help out the pass game, but I think he'll help out the run game a lot. Because all you have to do is do jet sweeps with this dude and just let him fucking run. Get the ball in his hand and just let him do his thing. That is exactly what Florida did, and it worked. And I'm definitely biased because I am a Florida fan, so I do think that he will work out. But on the other hand, I could see that if he doesn't, he's a small guy, then I do think that he does need to put on some weight. But his speed is his thing, and I think he'll work out because he can help the rush game with the passing game at the same time. Transitioning over to the defense and what they did back there, they brought in Ryan Anderson from Washington, who with an increased role will hopefully go back to his 2018-2019 self. I don't know how it was in Washington last year, admittedly, if any football team fans are watching this. But I do think that bringing in him to help out that linebacker core is a great move. They also drafted Azeez Ojulari from Georgia, which was a fantastic pickup at 50. They traded back again during the second round. I think they picked up a 2022 third, and they got potentially the best edge rusher in this draft. So that's a stud pickup to me. Then when you look at the secondary, they brought in Adoree Jackson from Tennessee, who is kind of inconsistent, and I don't like the big contract they gave him. They gave him 3 years for $39 million. I'm not the biggest fan of that contract, but I do think he's wildly versatile, and hopefully when he's on, he is on, and they already have James Bradberry back there, so they have that reliable guy. Then also during the draft, the third round, they picked up Aaron Robinson from UCF, who was a pretty underrated move to me. There are a few guys that had him mocked pretty high. They got him during the late third round. I don't know much about the guy, but I do think bringing in more cornerback depth was definitely needed for this New York team. So I think they killed the offseason. I really do think that they got a great mix of free agents and young guys during the draft, and that's exactly what they've done these past few years. So let's transition to the roster as a whole. Kind of sticking with the defensive side, they had a great offseason last year, and these guys were studs. They picked up Leonard Williams, and they signed him long-term. Going back up to the linebacking core, they have Blake Martinez, who is a stud inside linebacker, and he deserved the money he got. They also have Lorenzo Carter, who can hopefully stay healthy this year. I do think the foursome with Ryan Anderson, Blake Martinez, Lorenzo Carter with Azeez Ojulari is a great foursome moving forward. Kind of looking back at the secondary, I already did mention his name, but James Bradberry is a fucking killer. That dude is a stud. That is a great cornerback, and I'm glad that they have him. He is the centerpiece of that secondary. It's great to see the rest of their secondary. They got Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, the previously mentioned Jackson and Robinson. I think they have a good secondary, a good linebacking core. Then, hopefully Dexter Lawrence continues to develop because him and Leonard Williams can be dangerous with that D-line. Looking at the offense, we already said it. They surrounded him with weapons. They also brought in Kyle Rudolph, who I did not mention, but they surrounded Daniel Jones with weapons. But what I do want to talk about is their run game more than their pass game, because I do think this should be a run-first offense. They drafted Saquon with the number 2 overall pick. This should be a run-first offense. This should be a run-first team. Then I know they get a bunch of flack for the Andrew Thomas pick when guys like Jedrick Wills and Tristan Wirfs went, but Andrew Thomas ranked very high in run blocking last season, and so did right guard Will Hernandez. So I think they have 2 good run blockers there. I do think, though, that this offensive line still needs more work. I do think Matt Peart will continue to develop. He has a physical frame. That dude has a physical frame that can punish people. But I do think they do need some guard and center help, though. Their offensive line, it does need work. I would have liked if they would have done more during the draft to address the offensive line. But hey, it's like kind of mediocre the way that it is, and hopefully that will be enough to win some games. I don't really get that you're in the same division as Philly with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave and that damn Washington front seven, which I want to talk about soon, which is so dangerous. But I do think that they will hopefully address that later. Hopefully, maybe. It's not awful right now. It is not awful. It's filled with young guys that can potentially develop. So yeah, I do think this should be a run-first team, though. They have Saquon. Give this guy the fucking ball. They have Kadarius Toney. They have John Ross, who you can do jet sweeps with. You can do those gadget guys plays with. But I think Saquon should be the focal point of this offense, kind of like with the Browns offense, how it's run first. But if they need Baker to throw the ball, they got a bunch of fucking weapons to do so. I'm hoping that's what the Giants kind of turn into with their offense. And finally, I want to talk about the quarterback, because without a doubt, it is the easiest thing to harp on with the Giants. Just harp on Daniel Jones, because, he loves to fumble the ball. He isn't that great. But there's a hypothetical that I want to throw out, because I don't watch much Giants games, admittedly, so I don't know much about Daniel. But this hypothetical that I'd like to throw out is Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Why aren't the Giants all in on Aaron Rodgers? Shit, maybe they are and we just don't know it. They should be all in 100% trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers. They have 2 first-round picks. They picked up an extra third. They traded down twice to get more picks for next draft. Trade them. You have Daniel Jones. Trade him. Fucking Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard, they're both fine. Trade them. They should be all in on Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how a trade like that would work, but they should definitely try it out. Because I cannot help but love the idea of Aaron Rodgers in New York with Saquon Barkley and Kenny Golladay with a defense that's already good. They have James Bradbury, Leonard Williams, and Blake Martinez as their core 3 guys, and that's a great core 3, and they got young guys littered throughout it. I cannot help but love that. I want New York to go all in on Aaron Rodgers. That's what they need to do. But, Daniel Jones, he's definitely a guy that needs more help. He needs more experience, which with the NFL, you don't really get that. You have a few bad games and, the damn fan bases are calling for your head. So just give Daniel Jones more time. But if you can get Aaron Rodgers, that's exactly what you do. But, with Daniel Jones, they surrounded him with weapons. Let's just give him this year, and he should be given one more season right after this, because fans do not have patience. But I definitely think that Daniel Jones has potential. So yeah, that's going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of the videos that I make. So yeah, hope you enjoyed and have a great day.